Hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Welcome to this lesson on how to work with a metronome. So many guitar players just start working with it wrong, and it leads them to be frustrated when they work with a metronome. It leads them to be where they think they can't do it, and it just, after a while, they quit, and it becomes too boring for them, and they just stop. One of the most important tools that you have in your toolkit as a musician to really improve yourself quickly, to improve your time, your feeling, your groove, is a metronome. Now, I can hear everybody groaning right now on working with a metronome. It is going to help you in these key areas: groove, playing with time, playing with a good feel. And let me show you how you can do that. What I'm using, I put the link in the YouTube description. This is nothing, this is a free app. I believe it's free. It's called MetroTimer. MetroTimer. This is what it looks like. I put the link to it in the Apple App Store, and so if you're interested, you can get the app for this particular time metronome. What I like about this one is it just gives a kind of a wood block sort of a sound, so it doesn't give you a deet deet deet. Sometimes if it's a pitch, it will get annoying after a while, and then you can adjust it from that. I can tap in the tempo, and it'll go from there. So, here's another thing I like about it. It's not complicated. You can get metronome apps that'll shoot you, 9/4 time and triplets, and you're in 6/8 and 11/8. Don't do that. Don't do that. That's way too hard. Just get something that's going to click a normal click to it. If you want this to flash, it'll flash at you too, but it'll just go down as it kind of just flashes the little simple thing there. This is what I use, okay? Everything else is too complicated. This is what I use in my professional playing to do what I need to do. Also has a little practice timer here, which is fun too. You can set it for like 20 minutes or whatever and ensure that you are able to do the practicing that you need. All right, so that's what I'm using, and that's what you're hearing here. Now, guitar playing is not just about knowledge. We have binders filled with, I'm sure you have binders at home, as I do, filled with all kinds of lessons of things like that. It's not just about knowledge and collection of knowledge, as much as a lot of guitar teachers would like to tell you. It's just all about if you get the latest lick, the latest secret, you're going to get there. No, it's about feel. The Musicians Hall of Fame guitarist, Will McFarlane, man, he just plays 3 notes and you go, oh, it's gorgeous, it's perfect. It's feel. It's not speed. It's not the abundance of notes. It's feel. So how do we work on that? Let's see if we can work on it with just a metronome, okay? So if you find that you're getting well, how did I put it here in my notes? If you're not playing with a good sense of time, often it's because you aren't having to match your time with something else. Okay, so you're just playing for yourself. We asked a question earlier, and a lot of folks are just kind of playing in their own homes. They're not really having to match their tempo with somebody else. Matching the tempo, taking somebody else's tempo, an external tempo, is a very important skill for a musician. So a lot of times, if you find that you're not having a good good sense of time, that is generally the problem. You're having problems locking into an external tempo, not just what you have inside of you. So we want to lock into an external tempo, and that's where this can help. So here, I'm going to put this on 65. Okay, so here it is clicking at 65. And let's say I'm doing arpeggiated chords. Okay, so let's say I'm doing arpeggiated chords. First thing is I want to listen to where this time is. Most folks, they just get into playing scales and whatnot, and it just gets boring to them, and they don't know how to keep up with it. First thing is you want to listen to it and feel where that time is. So I'm going to get that, in fact, I'm going to put that over here so I can hear that a little bit better. Okay, so here's how you practice with a metronome. I'm not going for speed, I'm trying to get the feel of it. So I'm just going to do whole notes. Maybe change some different chords. Now I'm going to do a little simple arpeggio. So I'm trying to lock into this tempo. Now, what I'm trying to do is not just match that tempo, I'm trying to match all of the other arpeggiations that my fingers are doing to that tempo. So not only am I trying to hit the downbeat, I'm trying to hit all of these other things in time. So you'll find that sometimes we'll hit the downbeat, it'll be in time, but our other 16th notes or 8th notes that we're playing are out of time. So if I got this going again, what I'm talking about is sometimes we'll do this. So do you hear how the other arpeggiations are not where they need to be? If I put them on the beat, it sounds like this. Ready, and. It's not about speed, it's about getting them all together. So I'm trying to get da-da-da-da, those to be in the right tempo. If I want to do an 8th note bass rhythm, so what would 8th notes be? Da-da-da-da, 8th notes, ready, go. Let's go to a different key. So I'm not just matching the downbeats, I'm trying to match all the other subdivisions in there as well. And you'll find that a lot of times that's where the problem lies when you're doing fingerstyle stuff, is you're missing the subdivisions of everything. So when you're doing fingerstyle stuff like that, I would encourage you to spend a little bit of your practice time starting the metronome, listening to it, doing whole notes first. Maybe add some half notes. It's not about the chords, I'm listening to the subdivisions. Maybe do some 8th notes. Thinking about that subdivisions. Okay, what if I did another combination? Maybe add a little triplet in there. Yeah. What if I did 16th notes? So now I've kind of got my groove. I've synced up with this external groove. And then as I'm practicing, I'm going to start lowering the volume. So now I'm lowering the volume a little bit. So I got to pay attention to the flash a little bit more. So oftentimes we'll jump too soon when we're just kind of playing without an external tempo. We won't wait the times that we need to wait, and therefore we lose the groove. And that's a simple thing to fix with a metronome, okay? So that's one of the ways that you can do it. But let's say I wanted to do something else. Let's say I want to do kind of a slow picking groove. All right, so let me change this. Let me get to about 100 beats per minute here. Turn my volume up again. Oh, there it is. Wow, that's nice and loud. Okay, so I'm going to do kind of a picking groove. Now, what am I? I'm not just trying to match it. I'm trying to ride this thing. Okay, this is much more of a feel. The feel is what I'm working on. So I'm just going to take a couple of notes. Maybe this D here. Okay, and I'm going to see if I can find the groove. Just got a few notes. So I started simple, and then I'm gradually getting more and more complicated with it. But the main thing is I want to get that, even if you just have to do, I'm just doing eighth notes here, maybe on a C. Just kind of muting it. Maybe adding a D every now and then. Do you see how I'm doing 16th notes now? But I'm accenting every other beat. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. Maybe add a D every now. So first I'm working on this to where that's even. Do you see how I'm even varying a little bit? Now all I'm playing there is basically kind of a D minor pentatonic, a D, an E, you know, a G, A, a C and an E, C and a D, something like that. Maybe I can add a little F. And just kind of give it a little stank. I'm going to do a little pinch harmonic, though. Let me turn this up a little bit so you can hear me better. So I'm finding the groove. I'm finding the groove. That's what I'm looking for. That's what I'm looking for. And then you eventually start adding different licks, but you're honed in to what's happening here with the groove. So when I start to bring this lower, okay, all of that funkiness is because I was locked into the feel that this was giving to me. So I'm not just going, I'm I'm not just doing that. There's more to it than that. I can use it as a foundation for a groove. Now, sometimes you can get drum loops and things like that that'll kind of help you find a groove, but sometimes that's giving you a lot of information, and you can change that, and that can be almost too much. It can lock you into a groove. What I want to do is sometimes just the bare bones one like that kind of helps me lock into whatever groove that I want to. But the main thing is I gotta lock into that external tempo. I'm sorry I'm not explaining this as well as I could, but we use the metronome too one way sometimes, and we're not using it to actually help us find what we need to find. Layering the groove is what's the most important thing. All right, so let's say I want to do some chord strumming. All right, so let me get this going again. Okay, so I'm going to do maybe just an A minor. So I'm listening to that groove, and I'm just going to do whole notes. So this is already locked into that 16th notes. Maybe add some other chords. I'm locking into that groove. You ever listen to Cory Wong? I would encourage you to listen to a little bit of Cory Wong, Corywong. Man, he is the master with this kind of funky, strat-sounding grooves. Just pick different chords. The main thing is I've locked into this groove. So when I take this away, you can play all kinds of funky stuff with it, working with the metronome. Okay, let me show you another thing that you could do with a metronome. Let's say I want to work on some jazz stuff. So let's slow this down. Get down here to 60. All right, so I'm going to work on my jazz feel. Okay, one of the biggest problems with guys that are trying to aspire to play jazz is they don't have that feel. Well, jazz has a different emphasis of the notes. It emphasizes beats 2 and 4 a lot. So a way to practice this is to think of your metronome clicks as 2 and 4. 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. So do you see how now I'm thinking as the metronome clicks as 2 and 4? So that's going to help me with my jazz feel. 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3. So even if I did scales, Okay? Emphasizing beats 2 and 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4, 1. So just thinking about it like that is going to help your time. Now, I didn't explain that as well as it's kind of hard to explain a musical concept in words sometimes, and especially when we're talking about groove and feel. Working with a metronome is going to help you with that. So don't just look at it as something that you go, and as you're playing your scales. So don't just do this. Don't do that. I mean, that's good to practice every now and then, but your metronome can help you a lot more than that, and you got to think about it in a completely different way. Think about it as something that's laying down a tempo that I have to lock into. And I don't have to play complex, but I need to lock into what it's doing. And I'm focusing on locking into what's going on. A little bit of work with that, and that's going to help you. Talk about fundamentals when you're dealing with sports issues. Talk about he needs to be strong on the fundamentals. Working with a metronome is a fundamental for a musician, and especially a guitarist. And one of the biggest problems, especially if you don't get a chance to play with other people very much, is you just don't develop a good sense of time. And how do we develop a good sense of time? It's by linking our tempo with an external tempo, of which metronome helps with that. So there's some keys for helping you with some of your metronome work. Start out with just whole notes, then gradually get more and more complex, whether it's fingerstyle arpeggios, single notes, chords. If you're doing jazz stuff, you can think of that click as on 2 and 4, and that's going to help you develop a better sense of time with metronomes. So, hey, I'm Steve Krenz for Guitar Gathering. Thanks for joining us as we talk about metronomes, and we will see you guys next time.